Good morning, everyone. My name's Hank Setala,
And I'm Dr. K.
and we're here with an episode of Holistic Highlights, Part 2 of Health, Wealth, and Prosperity. Welcome, everyone. If you haven't catch the first episode, definitely go back and catch that in the archive. There was so much information coming through that I think we both had the awareness that this could be like a two-part or three-part stream or whatnot, all about health, wealth, and prosperity. And I have to take a moment just to do a quick Facebook share. But Dr. K, where would we want to start our second conversation?
Where we left off. But really, guys, this is, maybe we can put this on the parking lot too. I mean, there can be a whole course developed on this because there's so much with this that, we really could probably go on and on and on for quite a while. And maybe we do need to put a course together.
Oh, we definitely are. We kind of have
love
talked
to talk
about
about
that.
money. Yeah. So if you've got your notes going, or I should probably jot myself a note down so I don't forget, of course. Yeah, because there's a lot that goes into these topics. There's a lot it really, funnels back down to attracting what you want. And that has a lot of juicy information that can take quite a while to integrate, to understand, to wrap your head around. So I think I'm not exactly sure where we ended. We kind of
Whoops, wrong one. I meant to put that up.
Hank's having a day, guys.
You don't even know. Well, next week on, I forget, Monday or Tuesday, I forget which day, but I think it's the day of our clinic, actually. Sean Phillips is having a stream with Dr. Casey Crisp, which I don't think she's a medical doctor. I think she's a I don't know what she is, but they're doing a whole thing for 7 days of change coming up. And then in the studio, I saw a doctor, and I just had the links mixed up. Anyway, it was like the doctor said I was having a morning.
It's okay.
That's why I need this delicious coffee. And
we'll let Hank have coffee.
But one of the great places to start is if you caught the stream from last week, if there's any particular questions that you have, now's the time to ask them. There was one thing that I kind of teased as we were ending that I'll start with, is that energy flows where your attention goes. And one of the things when you're looking to manifest and actualize, and there's a huge difference between those two words, abundance in your life, think about how you prioritize honoring the money that you are keeping, right? When you get your paycheck, are you running out and paying all of your bills first? Or are you taking your paycheck and just a portion of it, setting aside for an honoring of you and telling the universe, hey, universe, it's important for me to have this abundance. And just that little change up, I got goosebumps as I said that, by prioritizing that you're honoring you with the money coming in first before you're paying your bills is huge. And access, we would say it's a 10% account, kind of like tithing, but tithing to yourself and honoring of you. Yeah. So for every dollar you get in, 10 cents goes into an honoring of you account. You told the universe, I'm important. My bills are I'm more important than my bills, and then pay everything first. And then as you're paying those, I'm so grateful that I have this abundance to pay this bill with. And that's the energy to be in going, oh, I don't have enough to pay this bill. Huge difference in the energy. So it's not just the choices you're making, it's the energy you're holding as you're carrying through the choices that you're making.
Absolutely. Those are very, very, very key points. So the other thing I would encourage you is to go back, and if we have a part 3, we'll do part 3, but go back and listen again, because sometimes you will pick up things you didn't grab the first time around. Your brain sometimes takes things in layers, so you may have not heard something the first time. Go back and listen to it again, and maybe, listen to this one again, so that you can go, oh, I missed that, because sometimes we miss things. So yes, the energy that you put on your money in every way, shape, or form will create your reality of what's going on. So definitely honoring yourself. And I think it's a good time to maybe pull out a notebook and write some of these things down. So the other suggestion when you're paying bills, what I do is, pay your bill, and then on the little whatever stub that you keep for yourself, I write thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you that this is paid, because we tend to see bills as negative things, right? They're like, we don't want to pay bills. That's money going out. That's not money inside. But think of it this way. You have your cell phone, right? You're paying your cell phone bill. You're paying your electric bill. You're paying, if you didn't have electricity, thank you to those people that are providing electricity from me. So every little thing, when you're paying that bill, think of whatever you're paying that bill for and say thank you that you have that, because your life is being made easier because you have those things. And thank you that this bill is paid. And thank you that I have the money to pay this bill. Even if it feels like you don't have enough money in your bank account, even if
Yeah.
it feels like, you know,
One thing to go along with that, this is from Rishi's Metaphysical Institute. I studied there for a number of years. It's in, if you're local, it's in a suburb of Cleveland called Euclid, Ohio, and they still to this day have classes every week on metaphysics and things. It would take you 20 years literally to get through all the material that they have going once a week. It's that much, that in depth of a program. But every time you would go to class there, everything is free. They just take it, everything by donations is how they survive, and they'll pass around a little basket. And before you give your the money, you bless it. And the little mantra that they use is, God bless this money, bless the ones who gave it, and bless the ones to whom it shall go for the service of the light. We give thanks, we give thanks, but let it multiply and increase at 1,000 times 1,000 for the service of the light. I got it now. It's been a while since I've been there. Let me start over with it. God bless this money. God, bless the ones who gave it, and bless the ones to whom it shall go. Multiply it and increase it 1,000 times 1,000 for the service of the light. Did I say bless the ones who give it, bless the ones to whom it shall go? We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks. And then you, like, whether you're paying with a credit card, do that with the card or the check or whatever. But look at the intention behind that is you're multiplying and increasing the energy you're putting out for the service of what's going to create possibility in the world. So that's a whole nother element you can add to it.
That's the law we talked about last week, the law of praise and increase. When you
Yeah.
praise others, when you're giving them increase. So the opposite of that is judging others, narking on others because they're doing better than you. You may as well write them a check because out of your account, because you're putting that energy out and it's a judgment, and that will deplete your account. Believe it or not, it happens. You're not going to know that you're doing that, but that is what's happening energetically. When you praise things and you put praise on money and on others and thank God that they're doing well, how cool for them, you are increasing that within yourself. So that's really important to just bless your money. And gosh, another tidbit was coming through. And the way you handle your money is another important thing. So don't forget, you're putting energy on money. So money, the dollar bill, $100 bill, carries an energy, and you can scan it. You can even, like, I don't have a dollar
No,
bill
you
or
can't.
100.
Don't scan it. That's illegal. That's counterfeiting. No, I'm
What?
kidding.
You use your hand.
Oh, scan it. No, I thought
Use
you
your
meant like
hand.
in the copy
Scan the
machine or something.
energy. Scan the energy. I don't
Okay.
do anything illegal.
No, that's okay. Well, I thought you were going a different route with that entirely.
Oh.
Like when you write yourself a check and you deposit it and you have like your third account, like scanning enough money to have like X amount of money. I thought you were
How do
going a
I
different
do
route.
that? Can you tell me how to do
Oh, for the
that?
check or for the money thing? No,
For
no,
both.
we don't want Banker Hank to come out because I used to work bank tax compliance and I saw like the worst of the worst. If I ever went to the dark side of the energy world, I could do a lot of
Well, there
bad
are
things.
people doing things, but you can scan the energy of your money. So when you bless your money, then scan it. And scanning is a process. You just kind of rub your hands, and you can feel energy and see how high. The higher it is, the better the money is. So your dollar bills, everything carries money. So I recommend carrying actually $100 bill in your wallet. The more you carry, the more you're going to attract, actually. And I know it's scary. One of my mentors said she made somebody carry $11,000 in his pocket.
No,
I don't know
we
how
use
you
this
do
tool
that.
in Access too. Whatever you visualize a rich person carrying around with them, that's how much you start with. And it's twofold. One, you have that money. And the idea is that you carry it around and it's not like, oh, I'm going to use it at the grocery store. It's money that you carry around just to have on you. And it increases your awareness and your focus and your attention on money. And what did we say already? A universal law is energy
Yeah,
flows where your attention goes.
attention goes. Yep.
So if you start carrying around, even if it's like $500 to start, like you're way more aware of your surroundings, way more aware of everything when you have that amount of money, and then you'll be increasing that over time. And in Access, they would also say that you don't necessarily have to have it be cash. It could be jewelry. It could be anything that has intrinsic value. Could be things that you have in your 10% account and that you use to carry the amount of wealth that you're going to have on you at all times.
Yeah. So and it has the energy of the money too. larger dollar bill, it has a larger value. So yeah,
Mhm.
you're bringing that into your field. And also, how many of you guys or gals have a wallet that everything's falling out and you have receipts in there and you can't find anything in your wallet and it's crammed and maybe it's not a very nice wallet? Where you carry that energy, that is honoring the money too. So I recommend getting a wallet that you really, really love. And the higher the value, because this is where you're putting money, and money has a value, it has an energy to it. So are you shoving it in and it's just all wrinkled up and you're not, what's the word I'm looking for, Hank? You're not
Not sure.
honoring it. You're not,
Yeah,
you're not
it's like
honoring it,
if you have a
basically.
newborn baby, you're buying typically with whatever budget you have, like the best of the best that you can afford based on where you're at. So based on where you're at, get the best, most affordable,
Yep.
or not most affordable, but the most give it a nice place to be. I guess is
Yes.
the idea. You're putting
Yes. Give
an
it a nice
attention to it.
place to be
You're
and you're putting the
coddling it. You're saying
intention on
you're
it.
important money, that type of
Exactly.
energy to it.
So clean up your wallet, guys and ladies, and get a nice wallet. Get a wallet that you love. Don't be afraid if it's $100. Make that opulent purchase because where you're storing this beautiful energy, you're honoring it, just like we talked about before, where you're honoring the money, you're honoring the energy of the money, and it will grow. It will grow, and will attract more. So those are little tidbits, but I think a good thing to talk about today is receiving because we can we can ask and it's coming, but we as humans
Yeah.
sometimes have a receptivity problem.
Before we move on to receiving, just acknowledging James was tuning in and just saying hi. And I assume, I
Hi,
don't know if you
James.
know Mark, but he said, "Greetings from jail, my wise friend." So I hope he's a police officer or something, because I'm sure they would take their phone if they were actually in jail. So I find this comment suspect, Mark. I don't know. I wonder what you do now. But thank you for tuning in, everyone. And as we go through this, feel free to chime in at any point. Make comments, ask your questions. We are happy to tailor our conversation to wherever you guys would like it to go through to. But receiving is super huge, and sometimes the universe is ready and it is gifting what we're asking for, but we just don't have the ability to receive it. And a lot of times that comes down to the difference in word choice here, energetically, the energy of manifestation and actualization. Manifestation is how it shows up, actualization is that it shows up. And oftentimes when we put out to the universe or something, we are conditioning it that I'm only willing to receive it this one little way. And
Mhm.
then we're ignoring the million other ways that the universe could have brought us abundance instead of the one way that we're willing to receive it.
Exactly. That's really, really important. So it's like, well, I want a red Porsche, and you end up getting a black truck. No, no, don't make it wrong. You've gotten something, and because sometimes we get frustrated because it doesn't show up. Well, I want $10,000. And then you're like, well, but Dr. K, it didn't show up. Like, there's nobody on my doorstep with a bag full of money. You may get that 10,000 as a raise. You may get that 10,000 because you ended up going through a divorce that you were going to go through. That was saved, so you saved money there. There's various ways that the money's going to show up, so don't poo-poo it as I
Yeah.
talk.
And
Yeah,
we use the word abundance and wealth, how it shows up. Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access, he was telling a story in a class, Global Foundation, I think. I forget which class I was in. But he was telling a story about how somebody was using all the tools to create abundance in their life. And he would call, like this was back when Access was a lot younger. And he would call people up and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And this one lady's like, "Oh, these things, tools aren't working. Nothing's happening." And he's like, "Well, tell me what's going on." And she didn't have any more money in her life, but a friend who had like a beach villa was going on a long trip and said, "Hey, can you stay at my house for 6 months while I'm traveling?" And somebody else gave her like a designer wardrobe and like a couple other things. He's like, so
hmm
all these other things showed up in your life, but you're not even willing to receive it as wealth and abundance because you had the idea that it can only show up in one way, and you're blind to all this other stuff happening. So that's just a couple examples of how abundance can show up in different ways. Nick was just offering, very true, that relational abundance, spiritual abundance, health abundance, etc., can be so much more valuable.
Yes. Hi, Nick. I know Nick. He's great. Um, so sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm like, and we miss it. We miss the opportunity when something shows up. We miss it a lot of times because we are very focused on it's got to come this way. We have our mindset on this avenue. It's got to come this way. And so be aware and raise your awareness to, okay, I've asked the universe, I've put that out there, be willing to receive, be willing to receive. So that's one thing. So just be aware as to things show up. Maybe an opportunity shows up that you weren't ready for. It didn't. Maybe you want a job, I don't know, at a certain company, but some other company calls you, or something else completely different shows up, and you're like, no, 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 I don't want to work for them. I want to work for this company only. You never
And
know.
and energetically the different way to pose that type of thing to the universe is having a preference for something versus a requirement. If you have a requirement that I'm only willing to receive if I'm working here, that's a way different energy of I'm willing to work anywhere, but I do have a preference for here. And oftentimes when you do it like that, it will show up the way that you prefer it a lot of times. Mark, your comment,
Oh
man.
no. Oh no.
he said, shoplifting milk dugs, egg rolls, and pipe tobacco. We'll need one of you to bail me out after the show. Bring 5,000
Mark,
cash.
you've learned nothing from what we've taught you.
But he's willing to ask, which is the first step. But you're saying if he has a condition that it has to be you or me to bail him out for 5,000, then the universe is going to have to work a bit harder to get him out.
Were you in Chicago over the weekend, Mark? Part of that, $6 million. What was it? I can't think of words today. Well, it wasn't a pretty thing what happened, but Magnificent Mile kind of got looted. So
Oh, I don't know if I was aware of that story, but I do have
yeah.
one other example of, because one of the things that I'm really involved in is like the expo world, and I used to vend at a lot of shows. Now I run shows, but what I found out is a lot of vendors have the idea that when they go to a show like that, the only way that they can receive abundance is the day of the show and the way of what they make that day. And early on in my career, I had that idea going in too. I was at the Seek the Light Expo, spent like $300 some for a booth. I didn't break even. I was at a loss selling my little aromatherapy at the time. But I remember someone telling me, my mentor, George, who runs Natural Options Aromatherapy, he said, you never know how a show is until 6 months after. He's like, so, whatever happens at a show, get that out of your head. Don't let that dictate what the results will be. Just be in the energy of, I don't really know until 6 months or more out down the line. And about 2 months after that show that I took a loss on, I had someone book me to teach a private aromatherapy class, and I made $3,000 in a day.
Yeah,
But had I
exactly.
kept the mindset that the only way I can receive money and be abundant doing the show is whatever I make selling 1 and 2 jars of aromatherapy, it's about the networking, it's about the connections being made that could trickle back abundance and energy flows down the line.
Yeah, so you definitely be completely open to what comes. And sometimes, a lot of times when I do energy work on people, I'm such a scientist that I like to have results right away. But what I have noticed is that people get the abundance and the healing and changes in their lives. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 months down the road. But I know that something's going to happen. Like I had a friend of mine that I worked on, and she came in. I'm like, what is it that you really want? She's like, money's an issue. And I'm like, okay. So we cleaned up the energy. Her business is booming. It took about a month and a half, maybe 2, took off. I had another gal, same thing. She came in for a rash, and she was just so distraught and crying because of a relationship. Cleaned her up within 3 to 4 sessions. She won the lottery 3 months later. Won a big
So
chunk.
I'll be scheduling an
So
appointment with Dr. Till right after the broadcast.
you get what you need, though. She was in a lot of trouble gambling wise. So she was in
Gotcha.
a lot of debt and having a major issue there. So the universe gave her a big chunk of money to cover with that debt. And I hope to God that she worked on the gambling issue, didn't gamble that away. I don't know what happened after that, but the more sessions we do, the more we clean up, the more abundance and the more space, and your container of money starts to get larger. It's a hands down thing that happens.
Oh, there was something I had a thought,
Oh,
and then I read Mark's
lost it.
comment, and I lost my thought, Mark. Oh
Darn it,
no.
Mark. See, see what you do to Hank.
It was a really good thought too. With clients, particularly that end up needing a couple sessions, sometimes all that is somebody who doesn't give the universe a chance to actualize, and just them making a commitment to come see a healer or a life coach or something. It's like you're persisting through your disbelief in a way that, if you try something for a day and it doesn't work and you're moving on to something else, you never give one thing long enough for the universe to push through whatever the block is. So you stay the course through it. And then other people, they come in in and they're ready for the healing and they have a miracle instantaneously. But now this is a serious question asked in a funny way, in a way. Any suggestions to attract the mega lottery would be much appreciated. He'll need a lawyer soon. So when it comes to things like lottery, one
Oh,
thing
yeah.
when you're actualizing that, don't put it that it has to be in the form of a lottery winning. It could be in the form of anything, but it's not about predicting the numbers. It's more like you just buy when you're buying the ticket or whatever it is. You want to bring up in your energy field the feeling of what it feels like having already won the lottery.
One, correct. Yes,
Yeah, because
absolutely.
like energy attracts like. So you would bring up that feeling, you would hit the buttons. My trick would be I would always have my kids push the button on the little machine, and I would win a lot more often because they have less point of view about winning or not winning. A little trick because kids are a little bit more of an unpolluted manifestation field, if you will. It's
Mhm.
especially if the parents are raising them in certain ways. Uh, but if you have that feeling of winning and then you continuously, like not all the time thinking of it, but just staying the course, like once a day for 10 minutes on an abundance altar, petition paper under a candle, however you want to have a physical representation of intention, you continue that feeling. And whether it shows up as a lottery ticket or as something else, the universe will bring it to you. Also, buy the ticket. There's so many people want to win the lottery. Do they buy a ticket? No.
It's action. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about too. That's an important piece. So the way manifestation and actualization, well, you use them separately, but the way these happen is they starts here first, right? So you want something, you desire something, and you start thinking about it, then it starts to get into your field, and then you have to take an action for something to happen. You can't just sit on your couch and meditate all day and think it's just going to show up. We are co-creators of things.
Yep.
So ask for it and then go take an action. Just keep taking the actions and things will arrive. Guaranteed they will arrive.
I
Will it
see
be a little bit of divine timing? It might
Magic
be. Hi, Mike.
Magic Mike checking in. Mike, I know you might remember the name of the neuroscientist because I'm going to refer to him in a second for that the video mapping the process of creation on the secondary nervous system. If you can post the name, I would ever so appreciate it. But to give an analogy with co-creating, this came through during one of the episodes of Stir Crazy Shamans that it's like being in a rowboat, and once you make your intention to the universe starts rowing. But if you take no action, all you end up doing is going in circle because you only have one energy on the one side of the boat rowing. You have to do your part, and then you have that good orderly direction. God,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
things start to actualize.
And then you
And
have to be receptive.
the other thing I was going to mention, and hopefully Mike will remember the video or the name of the neuroscientist, but there is a guy who was doing topographical brain mapping of brains for people doing meditation or receiving healing sessions, and he did it with Access and had all these amazing results. If you Google Access Consciousness neuroscientist, you'll find the video. I can't remember the guy's name, but towards the end of it, skip to the end of it, he had discovered a secondary nervous system riding on the lymphatic system that had 7 ganglia nerve that bundles that would come up to the surface of the skin, and guess what? All the places of the chakras, right? So, but
Hmm.
what they found is if you were to hold an intention for a particular duration of time, I think it was 30 seconds or 45 seconds, it's all it took, that they could see that it would be pulling in energy into the body or the field, and then it would exponentially at a much greater uh, volume, if you will, energetically, send it back out into the universe. And he was theorizing that it's starting to map the process of actualization. That as you hold those intentions and hold the things that you're looking to bring into your life, there is energetically something happening with the prana or whatever life force energy, whatever you want to think of it, that's coming into the field, charging your intention to the universe, and then goes out to the universe basically to ripple it back through the process of creation itself. So Access Consciousness neuroscientist, jump to the end of the video. It's a great watch, and hopefully Magic Mike will come up with the guy's name here in a second. Or I'll find the video. I could find the video and post it. That might even be better. It's like I have a computer in front of me, obviously.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, definitely work on receiving because receiving is when you ask for something, it's already on its way to you. But a lot of times we push things away and um, it can't come if we block it. So most humans who struggle with not enoughness
not
have a block
enoughness. I
to
love that.
struggle with receiving. And here's a very tricky way, and I'm guilty of this. This has happened to me many times. There's so many ways we are being given, that if we keep saying no to stuff, then it can't come in. So, it's like you're carrying a bag of groceries, they're about to fall out of your, and you're like, no, no, I'm going to carry it. And somebody says, can I help you with that? No, 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 I got it. I got it. This is one very, very little way that you want help, right? You're walking with your groceries. Gosh, it would be great if somebody could just carry this for me. Somebody comes along, hey, you want some help? No, 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 I got it. That's one way that you're pushing things away. Or somebody gives you a compliment and you don't even accept it.
Well, that's and accepting and allowing is
Two
some
different
people
things.
reject it even. Oh, you're so nice. No, I'm not. That's not even that you're accepting it. Like you're actually rejecting the compliment. Then it's like a very
I've done
interesting
that
energy.
multiple times in my life.
Yeah, and sometimes that's our first impression because why is it so hard for us to receive just praise? It's a very hard thing for some people, myself included, and it's taken a lot to just be like, thank you. And I'm not even, and in that energy, I'm not even accepting it or agreeing with it. I'm just being an allowance of them having that judgment or that point of view about me. And that's where the magic happens because a good point of view can stick you worse than a bad point of view. Oh, Hank, you're so metaphysically, I can't even think of something, but like someone were to give me a compliment about the work that I do, if I buy into that, then that creates a limitation of what I am too. So either way, it's just like let people have the point of view and receive whatever that is from them, but have the open slate to create whatever you like to on for yourself. And I have the YouTube link for that video and I posted it. So if you're watching and you don't have access to comments, which wherever you're watching, you can type that in and I believe that's it. And then just jump to the end of the video. And if that's not it, it's still a good video. Watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so these are little ways that if you're make yourself a note to be more aware of what you're receiving and what you're not receiving, because if you can't receive the little stuff, you're going to have trouble receiving the bigger stuff. So sometimes this is wrapped around not enoughness. Now, a lot of us are in not enoughness. And one
It's going
way
to
to
be my new word for
gauge
the week. Not
not
enoughness. I
enoughness.
love it. Well, and what was it? There's a book called, I think I recommended it to you too. It's called The Joy of Business by Simone
I
Milasas.
got that. Yeah, I'm in
and
process
and
reading.
even if you're not a business owner, it has some great nuggets of wisdom in there. And one of the places where we don't even realize that we're in a space of not enoughness, she found herself, she was looking for a house somewhere and they were looking in this like really expensive neighborhood. And she goes, oh no, I could never afford a house here. So like right in there, she's putting herself in the space of this is something that's outside of the realm of what I could create. And so like, where are those places in your life? Identify those things, because if there's a place where you're like, well, I'm not good enough for here, those are the places to start doing some work, because that's a place where you have bottlenecked your ability to receive from the universe.
Yeah, that's falling under the umbrella of not enoughness. How many of us do feel we're not good enough? I mean, happened to me many times. I know a lot of people that happens to. We're always, if you're feeling you're not good enough, it's part of the umbrella of not enoughness and you're running lack energy. A big indicator of whether you're running in lack energy is time. Um, Time is a big indicator if you're running on lack energy, because where you're feeling there's not enough time, there's also going to be not enough of a whole lot of other stuff running in your life. So if you're running on that one,
And a big secret with time, it's like one in the Matrix, some rules can be broken, or
you
others
can
can be
bend it.
bent. Yeah, time is one of those things that is very manipulatable. So you should
Yeah.
always have enough time.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, I'm not sure if I get this first word here, or maybe any thoughts. Possibly that might be a weird autocorrect thing. On but I know you might know Nick more than I. An acute but occasionally chronic infection. I'm not sure what that first word is,
What's
Nick. If
that?
you want to retype
Acute
it.
chronic infection. Nick, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I would look at toxicity, because a lot of infections, well, two things. Energetically, it's where are you inviting this in, because there's something that's percolating there energetically. But also when you have chronic infections or even acute infections, they're an immune system issue, but immune system at the bottom, I'm finding more and more and more that there's some sort of toxicity issue.
Oh, he was saying not enoughness.
Oh,
Oh man, that's great. I love that even more now.
not enoughness. I don't know what you mean with that with a chronic
No,
infection or is
he's relating to like people have the experience of not enoughness, sometimes acutely and sometimes chronically, meaning that
oh got
in
it.
some areas of your life you could be really good at receiving, and in other areas of life not willing or able to receive at all. Because it's kind
Yeah.
of like we're multifaceted. You might have the skilled application of an energy down in one house of your life. Think of like astrology. Each house is a stage at which energies play out, and you might have things down in your 12th house or your third house, but when things hit your fifth house, all hell breaks loose and you don't know what to do. And it's just like a matter of the energy work. Or in Apprecia's Metaphysical Institute, it was all broken down into departments. You have your physical department, you have your mental department, your finance department, and you might be really good in one and not good in the other. So just a testament of how multifaceted we are as beings.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's and we all know this, there's places where we do really well and other places we don't do so well. So you may have a lot of money, but you don't have your health. You may have a lot of money, but you don't have the relationship that you want, or your relationship isn't working. So these are all interconnected, and the energy pieces kind of need to be changed.
Yeah.
Join the clinic.
Oh, that you're that Nick. I know this Nick. We've
Yeah,
never met. I've
yes,
never met this Nick in person, but I know
uh,
this Nick through an email, I believe. But you're right. In our clinic, with the psychedelic effects of ketamine, it will draw out infections that were deep and related to mental traumas. Very cool.
yeah, I'll throw an extra toss in on that. An interesting on parasite infection. The lectins in parasites actually act on the nervous system, and so they aggravate the nerves, and it can cause a whole bunch of little funky stuff like you can actually so this is an interesting piece because sometimes we fight or not fight but work with our energy. It's like, Dr. K, but I'm trying to be positive and I'm having a really hard time. There is a physical piece sometimes that's interconnected because when we have a strong parasitic infection or we have a lot of metal toxicity, it agitates the nerves. So sometimes we may find it a little more challenging to control our thoughts and control our intentions and control the energy and where you want it to go because there's some underlying little physical piece that's not to say you can't control it because you can, don't forget, you are a divine being. You can rise above and beyond everything that is going on with you physically. This controls everything. And what is on top of this? Well, you're a divine being. So you have divine energy that you always have to just recontrol your willpower. But parasites actually agitate the nervous system and can exacerbate fear, doubt, and all those things. So that's
Yeah.
just a little side
And
note.
just a shout out too, because being a shaman, some of these things are near and dear to my heart. The whole starting to become accepted in mainstream treatments of psychedelics. Like there's case studies now going on with certain things for MDMA, for example, for PTSD, and psilocybin for depression, and all kinds of things. And I didn't even realize ketamine was something you could do in a clinic. I mean, I guess I knew because I knew about it, but it's just another testament that things that were used, well, I don't know about ketamine, but some of the other things that were used way back in the day are now starting to be looked at a little bit more seriously in terms of traditional medicine. So that's always fun. Luna is, oops, wrong one, lectins. That's not what I wanted to bring up. I want to bring up Luna's comment. That's an excellent. And then Mike's threw that one in there. Right when I'm clicking the button, it moved up, and I'm like, oh. But thank you for joining us, Luna.
Yeah, the other thing with regards to health, you have more health, more prosperity, more love. You also have to create the space within. So the other thing that I always recommend too is cleaning things out. If you have a lot of clutter, you're also not allowing things to come in. So during this whole COVID thing, I think a lot of people were cleaning things out, and that's awesome because when you clean things out of anything, like even cleaning your emails out, cleaning your closet out of things you don't use, you don't wear, you don't need. Give it to somebody, donate it, whatever you want to do. When you're making space within your own mind, so cleaning out the clutter out of your mind, because there's always a lot of noise in our heads. And when there's all that noise, it's more challenging to pull things in and cleaning things out in your physical space so that you can allow for more new to come in. That's really important too.
Quickie dinks. Uh, so if anybody has questions thus far, I said we've had a lot of great dialogue, I think, so far. But if there's a particular place that you like us to dive deeper, or a question that you have, please make a comment, and we'd love to dive a little bit deeper in the direction you want us to go in. Very cool.
But if somebody wants some affirmations and you want to jot these down, you attract what you are. That's jot that down because that's really important. Bringing awareness to what you are. if you're angry, you're going to attract more anger. If you're sad, you're going to attract more events of that. You attract what you are, but you are actually a divine source of power. So write that down. I am a divine source of power and I am prosperity. And if you can just have those two things and say that over and over every single day and put the energy into that.
Ooh,
um,
and play around with a slight variation on that, because I'm big on questions and that actually engages the brain
and question,
differently.
yeah.
But ask, how much fun can I have being this divine source of power? And then just see how it feels like with that. But when you ask a question to the brain, it lights it up
Yes,
completely differently than
exactly.
an affirmation. And
Yep.
that's how I was like, how much fun? Well, that's one of my questions I roll out of bed with, is how much magic and fun can I have today?
Yes, and you'll feel that when you ask a question. That was my, yeah, actually my subset to that. When you start asking questions, the brain has to come up with an answer. So what if I want $1 million? Like, think about that. When you ask that question, how do you feel? Don't you feel kind of excited? You should feel a shift in your energy, because sometimes the affirmations are nice and but I think questions may work better. So play with that a little bit, because when you say I am prosperity, but in the back of your head, but Dr. K, I'm not. I don't have all this stuff. That's not enoughness. Yeah. So then follow that? What if I am a divine source of power?
What
What
would it
if
feel like if I was? That's
was?
an
What would it
NLP
feel like
trick.
if I was? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it does then send this signal out and go, oh, and you will feel the shift within yourself when you start asking questions. But when you attract what you are, so be aware
Poor
of what's
bird.
going on.
A bird just dove right into my window. Rest in
Uh-oh.
peace, little birdie. I hope you're okay. That was so
He
loud.
wanted to get in because this was
Yeah.
good stuff. He's like, I
Poor little
hear that.
birdie. But what I was going to mention with the list of basic tool and access is you identify the energy that you need to be to actualize something or manifest something in your life, and you identify the energy that would prevent that. So all, like, what would it feel like? What energy could I be to truly create the financial freedom in my life that I would like to experience, right? So you throw the question out and you'll get an energy around it. And then the second question is, and what prevents that? And you'll get this real heavy energy. And with that heavy energy, then you use whatever the tools, like Dr. Gaius Prana Killing, we have the clearing statement and access, or Saman Chakui from shamanism, whatever you like, but you start working with that heaviness to wash that away. And basically the idea is you've just took the boulder out of the path for you to step into the beingness that you could be, to bring it to you.
Yeah, and
Bird,
take actions on things. Oh, somebody got a comment? Is
uh,
Mark chiming in
no,
again?
well, Nick was talking about bird seed cometh now.
Oh.
But no, Mark, funny you mentioned Mark. He just made that thing. I know that many have been devastated by losing their jobs and small businesses due to COVID. Any advice to set them at ease?
Yeah, totally. You have get back on thinking of abundance in a different way, because like we talked about last session, the laws of the universe don't stop working because COVID is around. So there's a new way to reinvent yourself. There's maybe we have to put your little statement up again, Hank,
I had it ready.
the COVID state.
Yep, there it is.
Create opportunities via intuiting divinity. So what new opportunities, maybe, oh gosh, it's another loaded topic, because with COVID, there's a lot of things, and I'm going to get a little woo woo here, but there's a lot of things that are happening to make us all shift, to bring more awareness. Some people are getting to the awareness, some people are not. And, the goal is to get more people to awareness. It's like, maybe you were in a job that you really didn't like. Maybe you were in a job that you loved and you had a great business. It's time to reinvent that, because the world is up leveling and you're going to have to up level with it. You can always recreate a different direction. So the laws of the universe will continue working despite this. So the abundance doesn't stop just because you lost your job. The universe isn't saying, well, there's COVID, so you're not going to get
Right.
anything.
And the question is, how many of the people that lost their jobs were in the camp of people that didn't like what they were doing, were begging and pleading for the universe to create something different? And it just didn't show up in the way that they thought it was going to show up.
Exactly.
And it's like, if you want to, like, people come as for a reading and they ask, well, is there a new job in my future or whatnot, and you tune in and you realize they have done nothing to actually look for a job, and based on everything they're doing now, yes, there's a new job, but it's like 5 years out. And that's probably how long it will take the universe to get them to get fired or laid off or whatever, for that to force them to move and look for a different opportunity where the universe can provide it. Because now they're in the boat rowing too, right? So when things like that happen, it may be just that that's the universe's way to shuffle things up to give them a greater possibility. But then it's all about mindset and staying in the energy of that. And one of the questions we would ask in Access for that is, what's right about this I'm not getting? So what's right about this I'm not getting, to start shifting the point of view around it. And then the other two that are super huge, how does it get any better than this? Whether you just stubbed your toe or you just won the lottery, you state that, and experientially the universe will deliver you another opportunity to see how it gets better than that. And if you feel really stuck, the magic wand is, what else is possible? And I got to
Yes,
plug my computer
exactly.
because it's
I
about.
love that one. That's a really great one. So, Mark, it's like a lot of people have lost their jobs, but again, the laws of the universe don't stop working. The abundance will continue to flow. It may come in a different direction now. Maybe you're going to be doing something completely different. Maybe there's a stepping stone to something else. But that's where you got to sit down, you got to pivot, you got to spend some time, maybe doing some abundance meditations, spend time every day, I say in the morning, picturing what you want, asking the universe and being ready to receive, and before you go to bed. The 5 minutes before you go to bed is what you fall asleep with. And putting those intentions out um, at that time and being diligent about it, starting a new routine of every day, finding things that I'm grateful for, even if it's, it's challenging sometimes when you've lost your job and you're like, well, crap, now what do I do? Being grateful for, okay, I still have my house, being grateful for, okay, hey, my parents are going to help me out, or, my other family member is going to help me out, or, hey, my husband is still working, you know, being grateful is trying to find gratitude for one of those things, because I should have started this whole thing. Gratitude attracts more. So when you think of things in the future, sometimes what I do is thank you, universe, for $300,000 coming my way now. You're already putting that intention out there that everything that you want is on its way to you. So that's what I would recommend to do for somebody that's lost a job, starting a morning routine and an evening routine. Thank you, universe, that a new job is here for me right now. You're putting that intention out, you're putting that energy out, and it's going to start working its way, and then being receptive, being
And then
really,
asking
really
the
receptive.
question, what energy could I be to help co-create this with the universe instantly with total ease? Like a question around like that, kind of a wordy question, but just get the energy behind it. What energy could my body, being, and beyond be to co-create a new job instantly with total ease with the universe? And you'll get an energy bubbling up that's the energy you want to step into. That's the energy you're going to choose to step into. And once you embrace that energy, the universe will bring you opportunities to express that being through doing, which would be getting your new job. But then the second question, I already alluded to it, what prevents me from stepping into that? And then that's the energy you work with. That's the blocks and things that would hold you back from that. Now, one Mike was saying, please make it go viral, the COVID acronym. If you go to my Facebook page, on my header, it is a public image. So if you do want to share it, just go to Hank Setala, look me up on Facebook, share that image from there. That would be awesome. And we can help spread that COVID as a verb, creating opportunities via intuiting divinity. And Mark, I'm sure meant this as a joke, but there's a legitimate response to this. I need to attract an abundance of skinniness. Is that possible? The answer is
Yes.
absolutely yes. And
Where
I
are
get,
you not showing up, Mark? Are you
yeah,
coming on Monday to start? You got to start the process. You have to start
yeah.
somewhere and starting to create it. Anything you want in life, when we say it, that's great. Like Hank said, it gets the boat rowing, but you got to start taking some actions. Are you in the gym every single day? Are you changing your diet?
Well,
There's lots of,
and don't judge you for where you're at right now. That is a huge thing because some people judge whatever their body type is as a wrongness.
yeah,
And
oh,
if you
that
have a
too.
judgment about that, it's almost locking it into the duality where, I love my body. It's right where it is. Great. And then working with your body, because your body is a separate energy. It's a separate consciousness even. And asking your body, hey, body, what would it take for us to create something different here? And working together instead of against each other.
And getting some help, because here's the other point too. When you invest in yourself, it will come back to you tenfold. There's a lot of, we're all in different places, and the souls that have come on this planet that are coaches and teachers and higher level beings, they have already gone through a lot of the past life stuff so that they can, and worked out the kinks so that they can help others get to their destinations. So having somebody that's accountable in any part of your life to help you through something, we're all here to walk each other home, really. So, having somebody that's accountable, that pushes you, that's there for you, makes things go a whole lot faster and helps you get to your destination.
Right. And I know too, in terms of like food cravings, I once a year I typically do a special type of cleanse. And what I had found is like as I was doing this, I would have these crazy cravings come up. Like I wouldn't have had Taco Bell for years, but while on this cleanse, all of a sudden like you get these crazy cravings. And it's almost as though there's certain things that are stored in the body that as you start to lose weight, I think that they get released. This is just a theory, but I would find that I would be losing weight on like a master cleanse and then have these crazy cravings for things that I'd never recently ate. And my theory is like as those weight things go, like you get these little cravings, like really identifying the difference between a craving and true hunger. And when it's a craving, like not giving into it and choosing something different, I think is huge too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of work there to be done, but when you add the energy piece to it, when we clean out the energy field around you, because sometimes we hold on to things emotionally, and we create like a protective field around us, and where does that get stored? That gets stored in the physical body. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's a dual, it's not sometimes, it's always a dual thing, cleaning that out and getting on whatever we need to do physically to get that to move through faster.
Yeah. That's something that's inspiring. I'll say it now, so I'll put myself out there for doing it. Well, I'll have an introduction. I got permission from one of my teachers, Patty Conklin, who has this whole thing on using color to work on cellular memory for things that are emotional traumas. And she gave me permission to teach an intro class on how to do it. So I will be offering that probably in September. I'll have like a little class on that. But it's a beautiful technique where it's basically what flavor energy do I need to change here? And it's just a
Yeah,
little bit more drawn out, but it's a great little connection, way to connect to those energies to start
there's
using them.
there's
And
so
Mark,
many things. Yeah.
unless you bail me out of jail, he won't be able to be there Monday. It's all right.
Maybe we need to bail you out of jail.
I don't know. I'm sure
Uh,
Mark is a potent creator. He obviously created a cell phone in jail that he can use, even though they would take those away from me. So I'm sure he can figure out a way to get out.
um, so yeah, moving on, like the law of mind action, you can increase or decrease your prosperity if you uh, belittle others or praise others, and we kind of talked about that too. So that's a big one because there's a lot of judging going on right now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We're in the rule of thumb, if you like, this goes back to like the golden rule, treat others as you like to be treated. If you're really looking at the world through the lenses of we are of the same animated essence, everything you do is going to be elevated because what you're doing to someone else in a sense is doing it to yourself, and it changes everything
exactly.
that you do. So it's a really good rule of thumb to start bringing yourself to that space. And the meditation that I used, and I used this like every day for a month at least. When I came across it, a little thing I got from Neil Donald Walsh is I would walk down the road, everything that I saw, whether it was a crack on the sidewalk, a tree, a person, a baby, a car, whatever the case is, um, I am that I am. And
Mm-hmm.
a reminder that
Yeah.
whatever it is that I'm perceiving, I am that, and then I am. And I am the only one in the room, and so are you. That's why, the greatest truths of the world and universe are paradoxes. We're separate, but we're one. But if you start functioning as an individual from the place of oneness, that's what's going to change the world. And that's what I believe humanity's starting to step into. Very exciting time to be here.
It is. It is. There's going to be, I think, maybe a lot more chaos before things get a little more leveled.
Well,
But
that's
so
what the
it's,
Earth is all about.
it is.
In
It's
astrology,
realigning. It is
Earth is
realigning.
harmony through conflict. So if you were living on Mars and Earth was coming around in your chart, you'd be like, "Oh, you're going to have a lot of conflict," but you have to learn how to harmonize it. That's what Earth energy is, and we're living here. So fourth ray energy, little metaphysics lessons for everybody.
So it's rising above the chaos. And we just have to remember that, yeah, again, abundance doesn't stop because COVID's happening. None of the goodness that comes to us doesn't stop because COVID. It may seem that way. You've lost your job, you've lost a family member. I mean, lots of stuff's happening. But this is the time to really hunker down, double down, and pivot and start using some of these questions that we relayed today, even and maybe follow it up with an affirmation and start resetting your energy, start putting the money that you do have in good containers, expanding your container, restructuring yourself. What else is possible? What else can I do? Because the opportunities are still out there. They are still out there. Um, be in non-resistance, the law of non-resistance, and be in receptivity, because all these little tricky things are playing out and we're not aware of them. We're not aware that we may not be in a receptive state, or we're in resistance. And Mary posted a really cool line yesterday. I'm like, oh, resistance will make you tired.
Yeah. What you resist
Yeah,
persists. So one of the universal laws, whatever you're resisting, you're actually still feeding it energy because you're focusing on it because you're resisting it. And what you resist persists. So if you can, instead of resisting it, if you can be an allowance of whatever that is, then that energy can move through you, not to you, like a cloud through the sky, and let you step into something different. But if you're resisting, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And of course, you'll feel tired because you're exerting energy for it.
it is. Yeah, it when we've resisted for a long time, or we've used a lot of energy to um, let's say keep something in place that's not serving you anymore, you're going to get tired. And the second we actually release it, people are pretty tired the next day. After I do some work with individuals, sometimes they're like, I'm like, be prepared, drink a lot of water, because when we release something, it's like a vacuum, something else is going to try to fill in. So water is one of those things that will help, so that something, we don't want other stuff to sink into that hole, that will fill that hole. But people are often tired the next day, and that's because you've worked so hard to fight this and resist it and keep it moving and giving it so much energy that you're feeling depleted. It's like, whoa, I really worked to keep this in my system. So be aware of that. Where you're starting to feel tired, look at where you're resisting things, multiple things. um, Not taking an action, not talking to somebody, not handling something you need to handle, maybe not quitting that job that you need to quit, but yet you're resisting it because you're
You know,
afraid.
our friend Ryan Dean has a great example of this. He used to work at this place as a shipping person, and they had all kinds of chemicals in this place, and he would get sick all the time. And he knew he needed to quit, right? And he kept being inspired to quit, and he didn't quit, and he kept working at this place. And he finally had a medical episode at the place that resulted in him getting into the hospital. And he told his guides, he's like, guides, what's up with this? And they said, well, we continue to try inspiration, but we thought respiration might do the trick to finally get him to get out of there.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And I have had that happen to me too. When I was, at Premier Physicians, I was being told, leave. This is not a good place for you. But I'm like, I was in fear, because I'm like, then I don't have a job. What am I going to do? And the saying goes,
Trust.
what you will not do for yourself, God will do for you. So when you keep getting, it's kind of like little pebbles are being thrown
Yep.
and you know it, and then you're not doing it, then a big rock gets thrown.
Yep. In
You get
astrology, it's all
sicker
about cycles. You have the same energies presenting themselves over and over again, and it gets stronger each time until you make a
until you
change.
do it, or it's done for you, and
Yep.
the rug was literally pulled underneath. They told me, we're not
That's
paying
the
you
last
anymore, and
resort.
I'm
But if
like,
you don't get it, you're going to recreate the same scenario again.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
crazy part about it.
yeah.
And Mark, I should have an HHH comedy hour. He says, "Don't resist the police. Trust me, I know firsthand." Well, that
Oh
explains. He's probably in jail longer than.
no. Yeah, that adds to the days. But yeah, being in the law of non-resistance, being in the law of increase and praise, taking action, and being in receptivity and allowance. Just allowance and trust. And trust is, maybe we should do a whole thing on trust, because this is a really tricky thing for people. It's kind of like, I remember when I was taking, swimming lessons, and you're on the edge of the diving board and you're like, crap, what if something happens? You can either go back down that ladder or you're jumping off that diving board. And a lot of people have difficulty jumping off the diving board because it's going into the realm of uncertainty. What
Right.
happens? Oh no, what happens if I quit this job and then it doesn't work out, or I take this leap and I start a business? If you look in your past, everything always works out and you're going to be okay.
Tomorrow will
So
always come.
it will always come and you're going to be okay. And it's definitely been a tricky piece in my life, and a lot of people that I know around me too. It's trusting that everything's going to work out. Everything will work out either way. It always does. You're still here. There's a saying by Neville Goddard. Oh yeah, fear is always feel the fear and choose anyway. I tell people there's no way to get beyond anything, but you got to walk through the fear door.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody there to hold your hand, even better. Just get a coach, get a good friend, somebody that's there for you to help you walk through that door.
And the job of ego is to keep you alive and keep you safe. And it only can base its point of view on past data. Your
Exactly.
intuition is the thing that you can look into the futures and the probabilities of the infinite possibility of the universe, but the ego will freak out because I don't know what's through that door. I don't know what happens if you jump off. Don't do that. Pick this instead where we know it's safe.
Safe, exactly. Yeah.
And ego is edging God out. It's taking the intuitive piece, and that's why feel the fear and choose anyway. And we had an acronym for fear, feeling excited and ready, because as kids, sometimes we're programmed to misidentify excitement with fear. And sometimes, is it really fear you're feeling, or are you excited about a different possibility? And then choose anyway.
Yeah, that's a big one with people. That's a big, big, big piece because a lot of people don't take that move. Go ahead.
Hey, Mark, I think Mike's going to come back, but he wants to know if you
He
need smokes
does.
and cash. So Mike can't bail you out, but he can get you some cigarettes so you can trade and, get treated better from the guards, maybe. We got to hook these two up. No, but we're coming right up on the hour mark here. We may end up doing a part three, though it will be probably a week from Friday. Though if I have connection, depending what I'm doing Friday, we may be on, but for the most part, we'll plan to not be. Unless you want to come on your own, Dr. K, I can give you access to the board and you can stream. But I'm going to be, actually, I'll be driving on Friday, so I won't be able to stream. I'll be on my way to West Virginia. So.
Okay, we can postpone because if we're doing part three of this, then we can do the two of us. If we do something else, then I'll pick a different health topic or something to chat about.
Yeah.
But
Very cool. Any final questions in our minutes here? I know Mark was saying that, let's see, this is such great advice. Thank you both. And also he says, Mike, deal. You can go hook him up with some stuff. You guys can connect after the show. Make sure you figure out how you can connect here. Mark says he'll fill in.
awesome. Well, great. Yeah, you're on, Mark. You're on. You've learned enough. But end it off. What are you saying to yourself? Watch what you're saying to yourself. And you have to watch what you think and watch what you say because these factors will affect your prosperity. That's my
Let me
little note.
grab this link too, because we haven't talked about our clinic at all. We kind of alluded to it, but
Oh yeah.
next Friday, we will
Monday.
be
Oh,
Monday.
you're
Friday of the parade. On Monday in the evening at Holistic Health and Healing, we have a clinic where it's going to be like a little 20-minute session, and you'll have 10 minutes with Dr. K, 10 minutes with me, where we're going to just work and do. Everybody will be different. A few energy processes, maybe some tuning forks, whatever comes up to with the goal, basically giving you a little tune up energetically. So clearing out the gunk so that you can step more easily into possibilities for choosing and on your path to health. And let me get the link for the event. I got the Facebook event here. And even if you can't make it, if you would just take a moment to share the information and help to contribute to the success of the event, we would be ever so grateful for that too. Why does Facebook make these links all crazy long? Like when you copy and paste it, it's all, anyway, there we go. Now I've reduced it. So here is the link for the Healing Clinic. All right. And there's, because it's just me and Dr. K, we have a very limited number of time slots per hour. I think there's like 2 people in any time slot because we'll work with someone and then switch. So if you like to register.
Probably our first run at this, and maybe we'll figure out how to make this a little smoother for future times and maybe even do a virtual one because looks like you guys are doing a virtual one, shaman virtual one. You stole my idea.
Well, that's a little different, but no, it's not different. Well, we've been doing that for a while, actually, and we rotate once a week. We do the first and third Wednesdays we do like a group healing session, and the second and fourth we do like individual ones. But it's all live, so people are watching too. Where this is more private. We're not we're not facilitating you on air, though we could do that. That would definitely be something we could do.
We'll evolve with this because I think the planet and people need a lot of this now. So wherever you guys can share this, just share that link. If you can't come, maybe you know somebody that needs it, really, really, really needs it. Invite them to come because it's going to be really great to get things moving for somebody and clean some gunk out.
Definitely. And Mark may come in via Zoom from jail, he's saying. So we'll see.
Why are you not coming, Mark? We want to know the excuse.
What jails are you refusing to refuse the healing you could be choosing? And all that is pot and pock. Because in Access, jails is actually an acronym for something very specific where it's judgments. Mike, help me out because I don't remember if Magic Mike remembers it. It's judgments and other stuff. But it's all the things that we use to hold ourselves in the little box of limitation. So I'll run the clearing again for everyone. What jails are you using to refuse the abundance that you could be choosing? And all that brings up and lets down, we destroy it and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So there's a free clearing. So we got Mark out of jail now with a clearing statement.
Your mind is your own jail a lot of times.
Yep.
It really is. We really like to stay stuck, and we choose to stay stuck in our heads. So yeah, we'll
Cool.
end it with that.
Yeah.
Did you post or did it post or?
Yeah, I posted. Yep, I posted the link. And the only
Okay.
places that you won't see the link if you're watching on my personal profile or the group. It won't let us post to a profile or a group. But if you're watching from any of the pages or YouTube or Periscope, the link is there for you.
Super.
Awesome. But thank you, everybody. This has been so much fun being here with you. And we will plan 2 weeks from today to have maybe a part 3 to this. And next Friday, Dr. K may be on solo or with Mark if he happens to figure out a way out of jail. And he might be on with 3 of his fellow inmates who are also interested, right?
That would be a good you know, Mark, I'm going to let you run the show and I'm going to listen to that one because that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I might get my channel taken down after Mark's on. I don't know. Hopefully not. But truthfully, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your contributions. Even Mark, you have always, even though you're joking, you have given great inspirations of where we can take the dialogue. So a Nike, which means thank you and catch you up. And we will catch you next time. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.